Thank you guys for tuning in. Welcome to Psychiatry for the Culture. Today we have our lovely guest, Dr. Gina Obiakor. We're so honored to have you here today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. We're going to be discussing some mental health topics, specifically today, peripartum and postpartum depression. And during those periods of time, some people may experience intense sadness, feelings of guilt, feelings of hopelessness. And I'm sure we're all familiar, but 10 to 15% of women are affected by postpartum depression, and 25% of women, specifically Black women, are affected by peripartum depression. So it's a really important topic in our community, and we just want to discuss it really quickly with you guys. So let's get started. Alrighty, so Gina, question for you. What are some common misconceptions that people have about postpartum and peripartum depression?
Well, some common misconceptions are that, it's something that's easy to overcome.
Mm-hmm.
It's that,
I've heard that before.
Right, that it's more, that it's just the baby blues, that...
Mm-hmm. And what is the baby blues? For our viewers that don't know, baby blues is something that happens within 2 weeks after your childbirth, where you might experience that feeling of sadness, and then it may go away. But if it's prolonged longer weeks to months, you're into the postpartum depression area. So
Right, exactly. So postpartum depression doesn't necessarily mean that it's right after childbirth. It can happen so many months after. And so I think that we have to realize that, those misconceptions about it being a phase or it just being something that you can easily overcome. It's not serious. Those are some of the things that I think a lot of folks out there seem to
and a lot of Black and brown communities really kind of stigmatize, women that experience these types of feelings.
Right.
And some women might feel like it means that you're a bad mom or you're a bad parent, and that's just not true. It's really a chemical imbalance. It's very, very common, and there are resources, if you're not open to medication, because some medications do affect, your child, so you might want to be more sensitive to medications. Mm-hmm. But, there's therapy, there's other resources that you can utilize.
It's highly treatable, definitely. It's manageable, rather.
Yes, it's very
manageable.
And you can do it whatever way you feel comfortable.
Exactly.
Right. Whether that be something medicinal or non-medicinal, right?
Right, exactly.
Another common misconception is that only mothers are affected. Mm-hmm. So surprisingly, about 10% of fathers are affected by postpartum depression. So don't think that it's just for the moms. Sometimes they get a little kicked out in the homes when the new baby comes, and they get those types of feelings also. So.
Right. Just there's so many factors that go into postpartum depression. You have hormonal changes, which is the classic, estrogen when those things go down. And then people see mood changes and things like that, then, a lot of the stigma is like, oh, they're experiencing postpartum, but it's more than that. It could be, not feeling like there is support, or, not feeling environmental changes and not feeling like, they have the ability to relax or heal or rest. And so that's where, a lot of us come into play.
Especially in low-income communities.
Yes,
a lot of moms that do have to get right back up and go back to work. You might not get that same time period to really adjust and get back to yourself, and sometimes it can take a toll on your mental health. But always be cognizant and always stay tuned in with yourself and who you are. So I have a fun question for you.
I'm ready for the fun question.
Dr. Gina Obiakor.
Yes.
AKA Dr.
Gigi. You call me Dr. Gigi.
We'll call you Dr. Gigi today. So if postpartum depression could have a superhero, what would the superhero be, and what superpowers would they possess?
Well, I feel like, if we're going to have a postpartum depression, peripartum depression, some type of superhero.
It's a creative question.
Right. I love the creative question. So if we're going to have a superhero, I think it should be a super doula.
A super doula.
Yeah, that would be the name.
A doula.
Okay. A doula.
Okay. And doulas, for people that don't know what a doula is like...
Yeah, so a doula is basically... It's a person who helps during pregnancy. So they help with just helping to relax, breathing techniques. They help with understanding all the different steps that are going to take place during delivery and childbirth, etc. So doulas are really great, and especially since we see that they are being much more normalized, especially in insurance,
coverages.
Yes, exactly.
They're starting to make it more like
a common thing. Exactly.
And different insurance plans.
Yeah, and I feel like, especially if this is becoming much more normalized, and we also see in research, and in the research I've been conducting that's currently in press, we see how doulas are really, really having such a profound effect on the onset or the potential for getting any type of depression during pregnancy.
So for this superhero doula, what would be the superpowers that they would possess?
I think that the super doula is going to be psychic. The super doula is going to be super strength. They're going to be able to understand what's going on inside of the new mother, or it could be a mother down the road. But anyway, the doula is around. They can
read the baby's mind.
Read the baby's mind, literally. Read the baby's mind. They understand what all the cries mean. They understand, how the mommy is feeling. Everything.
All right, so super doula to the rescue. Any comic book people out there looking for a new superhero?
Copyright. Hit me up.
Copyright. No, I'm just kidding.
We can work on it together.
Alrighty, so for our families out there who may have a sister, a mom, a cousin who may be experiencing postpartum depression or peripartum depression, what are some things like at home that someone can do to support someone that's going through something like that?
Right. I feel like the number one thing that we can do as family members or members of any type of friend group, anything that any community that you're a part of, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's very important for us to educate ourselves. So if you know that your loved one is experiencing some symptoms of postpartum depression, or even some sort of depression or anxiety during pregnancy, after pregnancy, whatever it is, it's really important to educate yourself, read up on it. Education is the number one thing, because every case can be different. There could be so many nuances and factors that are influencing that mother's experience.
I love how medicine is becoming more individualized. Because that's a very common thing that I hear now. Every case is different.
Right.
I'm so glad that doctors
are starting to
utilize that. Somebody else's postpartum or peripartum depression may not look or sound like someone else's. And just make sure that we're all listening to each other. Just listen to the mom. Help out with common tasks. Even if it's just like washing the dishes or folding clothes, those types of things, you might not think that they're very helpful, but they can be very helpful. And then encourage self-care.
Encourage self-care, exactly. Self-care. All the forms of support, because social support, like what that means is we're talking support in regards to how that mommy is feeling, or it could be, the intimacy factors that, intimacy doesn't necessarily mean sexual.
Exactly.
It can mean just emotional intimacy as well that mother may be lacking.
And connection. We all need connection.
Connection with loved ones, exactly.
Moms do too, especially when they're feeling a little bit disconnected maybe from their child. So,
exactly.
Those things are normal and they can pass with the right resources. So we also want to encourage people to do that. And then also, what are some community resources that maybe people could tap into that are experiencing this?
Well, I feel like, because this has become such a prevalent and imminent issue, I really think that the way communities are tapping in such a way is they're building collectives around mothers, right?
Okay.
So we see a lot of Black Mama collectives, or we see a lot of Brown Mama whatever it is. It doesn't have to be particularly Black and Brown mamas. It can be all mama collective, but a lot of communities are tapping in on that, and I think that there are a plethora of resources out there for you and your loved ones to tap into them.
Support groups where they come together. It doesn't
just
help
chat,
to
just to talk. Exactly.
Identify with you that's going with the same thing. So.
Yes, because there can be so many things, especially in my research amongst mothers who are low income. There could be so many instances where, for example, they have so many different stressful events because of finances, right? Finances are that burden, right? And so those stressful life indicators can be something as simple as not being able to pay a bill, or some people experiencing some housing insecurity, right? So
and I love that you're mentioning these things. These are very, very public health topics.
These are very public health topics.
And a lot of people don't know, what public health really entails.
Yeah, exactly.
But just give the people a little bit of snippet of how does public health affect their mental health? You know, what types of things can they tap into to make sure that they're getting the best mental health through a public health paradigm?
Okay, so through a public health paradigm, I would say, you know, the best resources are going to be, again, if you are pregnant, or you know you're pregnant, you know you're getting ready to have a child, I think it's important to really build up your support team. That is the number one thing.
Yes.
Who can you count on? Doesn't matter what income level you are at. Who can you count on? Who are the support groups around you? Can you get a doula with your insurance? If you don't have insurance, what is accessible to you, and how can you get something to support yourself? Start to be very, very proactive.
Who are your people?
Yeah, who are your people? Exactly.
You are getting ready to be nesting. You know,
you want to know who your people are.
Who are
right.
the people that are really going to be connected to you
exactly,
and come through for you, you know, in those
right.
times of need. And we don't want to be scrambling at the end.
Right. Yeah.
You know, but unfortunately, sometimes it happens.
It happens, you know, and that's why we're humans, and sometimes we don't always have the ability to plan like we want. But, you know, just know ahead of time what you can do, and what, you know, just give yourself some grace and some compassion in that regard. Even if you just have a doula and that's all you have, that's good enough too. You know, just try and find a way to, as much as possible, reduce your stress and see what's available to you in your community.
Yes, in your community, and always make sure that you're keeping up with policy. You know, people don't think about policy a lot of the time as impacting their health, but when you think about gun laws, or when you think about how COVID-19 was handled, or all of these things that play into resources within schools, those things are public health.
These are all public health based and have a lot to do with, you know, this right that we're given as citizens of this country, which is to vote.
Yeah, so, you know, we gotta stay on top of it.
We gotta stay on top of our voting.
Yes, absolutely. Well, that's all we have for you today. So thank you so much for joining Psychiatry for the Culture, where we talk about mental health topics that matter to you. And this is your culturally competent resource, and we're so grateful to have Dr. Gina Obiakor here today. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you so much for having me.